tubectomy in females, vasectomy in males, sterilization. These are called as terminal methods. So they are permanent methods. Hello friends, INICET November 2021. And friends, as I always do, I'll share a brief review of the INICET November 2021 paper overall and PSM. This time paper was a mixed bag as usual. One-liner MCQs like NB pattern were there. Match the following type of question was there. Sequential arrangement questions were there. Image-based questions. And a lot of clinical scenario based MCQs were there. Many questions were from expected topics. Not too many totally unheard type of questions. Majority of students mentioned that paper appeared to be moderate level this time, but definitely PSM community medicine subject was quite easy. In fact, out of total 200 questions, 18 questions were from the subject of PSM and all 18 questions were from the mobile app videos and the book review of PSM including biostatistics latest 13th edition. I must thank students of my app Dr. Vivek Jain PSM mobile app and the Facebook group Prep Ladder Premium Club and my Facebook Instagram account students followers to help me reconstruct the questions of INICET November 2021. So let us start with first question right now. A drug reduces mortality but does not cure the disease. True statement among the following is: prevalence will increase, prevalence of the disease will decrease, incidence will increase or incidence will decrease. Friends, if you see, it is mentioned a drug reduces mortality but does not cure. So what will happen? Cases remain cases. You are not curing them, but you are not allowing them to die also. So if cases remain cases, they will keep on transmitting the disease at the same rate. So incidence will remain same for some time. So new cases will keep on occurring at the same rate. Older cases you are not allowing to die and they remain cases. So old cases remain old cases. New cases are added every year. So total number of cases or prevalence will increase. Right? So correct answer to this question is choice number A, prevalence of the disease increases. Another way to solve this question: what is the mathematical relationship between incidence and prevalence? Prevalence is incidence into duration. Now look at this particular question. Does not cure the disease but reduce deaths. So cases remain cases. So duration of the disease in their body will increase. Duration is increasing but you are not curing them. So they will keep on transmitting the disease at the same rate. So incidence will remain same. Incidence is same, duration is increasing. Prevalence is incidence into duration. So overall prevalence will increase. A good example is anti-diabetic drugs, anti-hypertensive drugs, antiretroviral drugs. They don't cure the disease of diabetes, hypertension or HIV, but they prolong the life. So cases remain cases, old cases remain old cases, new cases are added every year. Total number of cases of these chronic diseases without treatment keep on increasing. Check out this particular topic. Exactly same example I have used in the mobile video lecture and it is mentioned in the notes also. Another question: hepatitis B subunit vaccine is derived from which antigen? Hepatitis B vaccine is of two types. These are plasma derived vaccine and rDNA yeast derived vaccine. First we look at the more commonly used plasma derived vaccine. This is a type of subunit vaccine. It is based on Australia antigen, that is hepatitis B surface antigen. This particular vaccine is formalin inactivated and it is a derivative of, it is derived from carriers. On the other hand, rDNA yeast derived vaccine is a genetically engineered vaccine. So answer to this question is choice number B, hepatitis B surface antigen. If you look at the review of PSM book including biostatistics, categorically I had mentioned this point that vaccine is based on hepatitis B surface antigen. Another easy question, repeated question in the exam, human development index includes. Friends, earlier PQLI, now human development index is used. It comprises of three indicators. These are life expectancy at birth, decent living standard and knowledge. When we look at life expectancy at birth, this is same as LE0, LE birth, also known as longevity. It is in PQLI where life expectancy at 1 year of age is used. Decent living standard, this is measured by income per capita. It may be measured as gross national income per capita or it may be measured as US dollar triple P, purchasing power parity. Knowledge, if you see, we can measure as education index. This is currently used for calculation of HDI using MYS, mean years of schooling, where also we use expected years of schooling. Otherwise, we can use literacy rate, or enrollment ratio in the schools. Now friends, all of us know a very commonly asked question, human development index of a country lies between 0 to +1. If you look at status of India currently, we have a human development index of 0.645 recent most value, based on which India has a rank of 131 globally in the countries, and we are a, since we belong to 0.5 to 0.799 human development index, a medium development country. This topic has been amply discussed in detail in the mobile app Dr. Vivek Jain PSM, where you can see HDI and physical quality of life index, their complementary indices like human poverty index and nowadays MDPI, multi-dimensional poverty index, are also discussed in detail. Kindly go through them for the upcoming INI-CET and NEET PG examinations. Next question. Meta-analysis include all except. Friends, first we should know what is meta-analysis. It is analysis of analysis. What you have to be careful while reading this particular definition is this. So I can say it is analysis of multiple studies together. All the published as well as unpublished studies we try to take and try to quantitatively synthesize their data and come out with a single possible result. So this meta-analysis is the most superior epidemiological study. It is the gold standard of evidence-based medicine and it is kept at the top of evidence-based medicine pyramid. When we look at steps which are used in meta-analysis, there are predominantly 4 steps. These are: number 1, identification. So identify all the available published, unpublished studies in the world which are pertaining to the research hypothesis questions you are targeting. Second step is selection. You have to make some inclusion criteria based on those predefined inclusion criteria. Now identify those studies which are going to be included in your meta-analysis. Step number 3, abstraction. You cannot include all the details of all these studies, so use the abstracted data. Use only the relevant data from each study to be included for final analysis in your meta-analysis. And the last step is analysis or interpretation. So answer to this question is randomization is not included in meta-analysis. We do not select the studies randomly. Rather, all the studies which are available on this planet are tried to be included in the final meta-analysis. I must tell you one more thing. This particular analysis is of two types. It is done either through fixed effects model or it is done through random effects model. This fixed effects model is done for homogeneous type of data or studies. Random effects model is done for heterogeneous type of data or studies. Meta-analysis topic has been discussed in the mobile video lecture app in detail also. Check out the topic of evidence-based medicine under epidemiology section of the mobile application. A very easy question. Steps in case control studies include, it was a multiple response type. So friends, let us look at case control studies. We know they are retrospective backward looking studies where we start with the disease effect or outcome and then go backward in time and ask history of exposure, risk factor or the possible causative agent. When you have to start a case control study, first and foremost step is selection of cases and the comparison group selection of controls. Cases will be based on the defined criteria. Definitions are available for most of the diseases under the National Health Programs guidelines. Those you can use. Controls have to be taken appropriately and in the appropriate number and ratio vis-a-vis cases also. After selection of cases and controls, the next step is matching. All the cases and controls have to be matched with each other. We don't want any confounding factor to affect the final results or outcome of our study. Third is measurement of exposure. In this step, we rely upon history given by the cases and controls to determine the exposure. And finally, the fourth step in a case control study is analysis. Analysis is we try to now use either the exposure rates or calculate strength of association. In a cohort study, you have got incidence, so you can calculate strength of association as relative risk. In a case control study, there is no follow-up, there is no incidence. So we rely upon odds ratio. AD divided by BC, cross product cross multiplication ratio in a 2/2 table to calculate strength of association. So in a case control study, you take cases control, match them, ask history or exposure, and finally calculate your strength of association in the form of odds ratio. There is no follow-up which is done in a case control study. So look at the question now. They are asking steps of case control studies. Choices given are follow-up, matching, selection and inference of result data. So we have discussed follow-up is not done in a case control study. That is a hallmark of prospective cohort study. So answer to this question will be 2, 3 and 4, that is choice number D. Go through the topic of case control study design under the topic epidemiology in the mobile video lecture app and try to understand not just the concept but the calculations and the other analytical studies along with the combination of designs of these two study designs. Best study to find out strength of association, that is relation between exposure and outcome. Friends, first we formulate a hypothesis in descriptive epidemiology. Then we test association in analytical studies where we try to test your hypothesis. This could be done by 4 major study designs. These are cohort study, case control study, cross-sectional study and ecological study. All of us know cohort study, which is forward looking, prospective in nature, cause to effect, having a follow up also. It is able to give us not just incidence, but we are able to successfully calculate strength of association, relative risk, attributable risk and population attributable risk. Now in comparison, case control study is only based on history. There is no follow up, there is no incidence. So you cannot calculate relative risk, attributable or population attributable risk. You are forced to calculate odds ratio. And we know relative risk is more accurate than odds ratio. So cohort study is better than case control study when we look at strength of association. Look at cross-sectional study. This is done at a point of time. It gives you only a cross-section of a population or prevalence of a parameter. It cannot give you relative risk or odds ratio. So even a cohort and a case control study is better than cross-sectional study. And finally, look at ecological study. It gives you neither incidence nor prevalence, neither relative risk nor odds ratio. So no strength of association is calculable. So out of the 4 major analytical study design, best study to find out strength of association, most accurate strength of association is relative risk. Therefore answer is cohort study. In fact, if you are asked both cohort studies separately, prospective and retrospective, so please remember retrospective cohort study is much better than a prospective cohort study. Reason being, both cohort studies give you incidence and relative risk, but retrospective cohort study, because of its study design, is able to save a lot of time, a lot of follow-up in terms of time spent actually or physically is saved by the study design. This point, finding the strength of association, has been discussed in detail in the mobile video lecture app under the topic of epidemiology analytical studies, where I told you a cohort study is superior to other study designs to calculate strength of association. Let us move to the next question now. Match the correct option according to the image given below. Some diagram has been given and you are asked what is the correct combination of sequence. 1, 2, 3 and 4 diagrams. Are they representing normal distribution, positive skew, negative skew or outliers? And you have to mark in correct sequence. So friends, first we have to identify which is this particular statistical data diagram. This is a box and a whisker plot. So let us first try to understand the box and a whisker plot. Then we will come back to this question. If you look at this diagram, there is a box and 2 whiskers on this side. This is actually graphical display of data in the form of its quartiles. In the box in the center, there is a thick line that is second quartile or median. the edges of the boxes are first and the third quartile. And if you look at margins or ends of the whiskers on this side, they represent minimum and maximum value. Now friends, if you look at this particular box and whisker plot, it is bilaterally symmetrical if I try to draw a graph. So definitely this is a type of normal distribution. In case you are able to locate some data beyond the whiskers in the forms of dots, this will become a normal distribution, but now it has some outliers also. In case data is not bilaterally symmetrical, the box and whisker plot will not be bilaterally symmetrical. That will be a skewed type of box and whisker plot. First look at this particular box and whisker plot. The graph will be something like this. It has a longer tail going on the right or the positive side. So this is a right or a positively skewed data which is represented on this box and whisker plot. If it is exactly opposite like this, then you can see the graph has longer tail going towards the left or the negative side. So this will be a left or a negatively skewed data. So this topic, box and whisker plot, has been asked in many AIIMS and previous INI-CET examinations. I am sure you must have attempted this question right. So friends, now let us look at the question which was actually given to us. So friends, this was a actual question diagram which was given. I have given a zoom picture, so magnified picture, so that you can understand. Look at now first graph number 1. You can see data appears to be bilaterally symmetrical. So I can say this is normal distribution. Look at graph number 2. You can see it is no doubt bilaterally symmetrical, but it has some data beyond the whiskers or margins also. So this is a normal distribution but with outliers. Look at graph number 3. Here you can see the longer tail is going towards the 0 or the center of the graph. So this is left or negative skew. And finally, in the fourth graph, you can see that the longer tail is going towards the right or the positive side. So it is all about understanding the concept. Now we are in a position to mark the answer correctly. So let us look at the actual question now. So in this question, correct answer will be choice number C, normal outliers, negative skew and positive skew respectively. Friends, this topic has been discussed in detail. I have made a separate video on box and whisker plots along with the skewness of box and whisker plot data also. So exactly this topic we can study in detail with all the relevant questions from the mobile video lecture app. Moving now to the next question. Standardized age mortality ratio is an indicator for. Friends, first of all we should know, if you want to compare death rates in two different countries directly, it is not possible. Why? Because health facilities may be different, and most importantly, their age and sex structure may be totally different. Population pyramid, age sex pyramid may be totally different from each other. So you directly cannot compare death rates of two different countries. So you have to use standardized death rate. This standardization of death rate is of two types. You can use direct standardization or you can go for indirect standardization. Of course, direct standardization is better because it is used when age specific death rates are available. in each age group, how many deaths have actually taken place in the country, that is available to you. So what you will do now, apply the age specific death rate of the given group to the standard population. This way you will be able to calculate the total number of deaths in each age group of the standard population. Now these total deaths in the total standard population should be divided by the total standard population. This will give you a standardized death rate which is now comparable to another country directly. But now look at the other situation. If in a developing country age specific death rate is not available, then you cannot use direct standardization. Then you have to do indirect standardization, where we use the simplest and most accurate indicator as SMR, standardized mortality ratio, where in a particular group we compare the mortality with the national population. It is calculated as observed deaths divided by expected deaths into 100, multiplier is 100. Now this standardized age mortality ratio, now you can see, will give you a death rate where we adjust for a given group vis-a-vis the standard national population. Please remember this is not useful to eliminate age structure of different countries or different age population in different regions of the world. We are talking of a single country where the death rate of a population is adjusted for the standard age distribution. So answer is choice A, because one group is compared with the national population itself. This topic of standardization you can directly read from my book Review of PSM including Biostatistics. 13th edition is available currently. Let us move to the next question now. Causes of mortality among neonates in descending order, they are asking according to 2013 data as based on verbal autopsy data for the country. So friends, when we look at neonates, this is the age group 0 to 28 days of life, or first 4 weeks or approx 1 month of life. In this, most common cause of mortality or death has been found to be low birth weight and prematurity. If you take them together, individually, prematurity is the single most common cause of neonatal deaths in the country. Together, both of them constitute a whopping 48% of the total deaths. It is followed by birth asphyxia and trauma, 13% of total deaths, neonatal pneumonia, 12% of total deaths, and among the remaining causes, sepsis and congenital anomaly constitute 5 and 4% respectively. So answer to this particular question, where you have to arrange in correct chronological sequence but in descending order, is choice number D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So read the choices carefully in the paper. Maternal and child health indicators have been discussed in extensive detail, focusing on definitions, formulae, denominators, most common cause and latest value in the mobile application. Pasteurization test done for milk includes all except. Friends, when we look at methods of pasteurization, they are predominantly of 3 types. First is Holder method. This Holder or VAT method is done at 63 to 66 degrees centigrade, whereas milk is subjected to this temperature for 30 minutes. But most widely used method is high temperature short time method of pasteurization, popularly known as flash method. This particular method is carried out at 72 degrees centigrade for 15 seconds. We can also use other methods of pasteurization like ultra high temperature which is 125 degrees centigrade for very few seconds. Now these are the methods of pasteurization. Now which test is used as a test of contamination? Now what is the meaning of test of contamination? Means you apply this test on milk. If it is contaminated, then that milk only should be subjected to pasteurization or except for pasteurization. So that test is methylene blue reduction test. So methylene blue reduction test will tell you whether milk needs pasteurization or not. If contamination is present, you can use flash method or Holder method. After that, you must test adequacy or sufficiency of pasteurization. So how do we test sufficiency or adequacy of pasteurization? That is done by most common method, phosphatase test. Otherwise, we can also use standard plate count test and coliform test. So standard plate count and coliform count is also used to test sufficiency or adequacy of pasteurization. So answer to this question is choice number D. Iodine test is not related to pasteurization of milk. In my book Review of PSM, I have discussed the topic of pasteurization in extensive detail along with all the relevant MCQs to practice from previous papers. Match the following for Japanese encephalitis. Friends, Japanese encephalitis is a arboviral disease. Arthropod borne viral infection, a disease which is caused by flavivirus group B. This disease, the causative agent is JE virus, Japanese encephalitis virus, but the vector is Culex. In Culex, you must know most commonly incriminated vector is Culex tritineorhynchus. Otherwise, Culex vishnui and Culex gelidus also may transmit this particular disease, which is common in children aged below 15 years, but not infants. It does not affect infants. If you look man is not the primary host, rather man is a accidental dead end host. This particular disease, the main reservoir host is ardite birds like ducks, fowls, herons. An amplifier host is pig, where organism multiplies. Beside this, cattle and horses, they may act as mosquito attractants. So now you know everything. Ideas to read the choices carefully. Answer to this question will be choice number B, A4, B1, C3 and D2. Japanese encephalitis disease epidemiology. I highlighted significantly in the topic that this is one particular vector-borne disease where epidemiology is asked in detail. So all the rice growing states where this disease is commonly found has made it mandatory that JE vaccine has now been included in the National Immunization Schedule of India. So kindly go through this topic from the mobile video lecture app, communicable disease topic, subtopic vector-borne diseases. In which of the following deficiency there is collagen maturation defect? More of a biochemistry orthopedics question, but integrated question we know. Scurvy is the answer. Vitamin C deficiency. Because of this defect in collagen maturation, it leads to delayed wound healing. There may also be gum bleeds and there may also be fractures or other related bony changes that you will study in radiology and orthopedics also. Topic vitamin C deficiency along with other vitamin deficiencies have been discussed amply in detail under the topic nutrition, vitamin deficiencies. What is external validity of a study? Validity is actually a more technically correct term for accuracy. Accuracy or validity of a test or a study is, does it actually measure what it purports to or is supposed to measure? Now this validity or accuracy could be of multiple types. Broadly it is divided into two types: internal validity and external validity. Now what are these? Internal validity is extent to which a trustworthy causality is established in the study. So basically this internal validity excludes the alternative explanations. This internal validity can be increased by blinding, also by randomization, also by following the protocol. On the other hand, this internal validity of a study is reduced due to presence of confounding factors and if there is an attrition in the study. Now compare this internal validity with external validity. External validity implies, are the results of your study, are they generalizable? Means, are they applicable to similar studies in other settings also? So is your outcome applicable to external setting also? So answer to this question is choice number B. This external validity of a study can be increased by reprocessing and replicability. On the other hand, the same external validity of a study is reduced due to selection bias and situational factors. Topic of validity, both and multiple types, has been discussed in the review of PSM book. Go through this topic under the chapter screening of a disease in a population. All are long-term and reversible contraceptives except, so please remember except they are asking. Choices include tubal sterilization, that is tubectomy, Implanon, IUCD, levonorgestrel IUCD. So answer to this question is choice number A, tubal sterilization, one of the easy questions of the paper. We have to know that this Implanon is a subdermal implant. And it has a shelf life of roughly around 3 years. Compare it with intrauterine contraceptive device, on an average has a shelf life of around 3 to 5 years. Maybe out of them exception is copper T380A, which has a shelf life of 10 years. Similarly, third generation IUD, hormonal IUD, bioactive IUD, levonorgestrel LNG IUD, this has a shelf life of around 10 years. So all these three methods are definitely long term and they are reversible also. But tubectomy in females, vasectomy in males, sterilization, these are called as terminal methods. So they are permanent methods, almost irreversible methods of contraception. In the topic of all the topics of contraception, family planning, individual contraceptives in detail and their relevance in health programs and multiple choice questions have been discussed in detail under the topic family planning in the mobile video lecture app. In recent years, next question, incidence of non-communicable disease like diabetes, hypertension have increased. This is an example of. Friends, let us see these fluctuations or time distribution of disease in detail. Time fluctuation of a disease is of three types. First is short term. This short term fluctuation is when disease increase or decrease in a short time, that is epidemics. So Bhopal gas tragedy, Chernobyl tragedy, food poisoning are very good examples. But if this disease fluctuation is a long term, it takes a lot of time to increase or decrease in a population. That is known as secular trend. Take an example. If you look at last 6 or 7 decades, you will see that communicable diseases are slowly decreasing in the population. Better treatment, better diagnosis, better vaccines are available. But at the same time, non-communicable diseases are slowly rising in the population. Diabetes, hypertension, cancer, blindness, obesity. Third type of fluctuation is periodic. These periodic fluctuations could be of further two types. These could be seasonal. Diseases which increase every season, like respiratory infections in winters, mosquito-borne diseases in rainy season, or they could be cyclical, which increase after every few years. Measles show cyclical trend once every 2 to 3 years. Rubella show cyclical trend once every 6 to 8 years. So answer to this question is choice number D, secular trend of a disease. Friends, same topic has been discussed in the mobile video lecture app. You will find it in notes also. And in fact, what is the interesting thing? I have used same example which was asked in the INI CT exam this time, and I actually used a diagram for you to understand and imbibe the concept. So kindly go through this topic, time distribution of disease, under the topic health and disease in the mobile video lecture app. Next question, a man presents with the following serum markers profile for hepatitis B. Profile is surface antigen HbAsG is negative. Envelope antigen, which is a marker of infectivity, is also negative. And most important thing, anti-HBC IgG is positive. Friends, we know if anti-HBC you find IgM, that is a marker of acute hepatitis B. But when you find IgG, that is a marker of, yes, chronic hepatitis B per se. So I'll again repeat, hepatitis B surface antigen, envelope antigen may be positive, negative. But if you have anti-HBC IgM, it is a marker of acute hepatitis B. But if you find anti-HBC IgG type, it is a marker of chronic hepatitis B. If HBeAg is positive, then it indicates active viral replication in the body. I have discussed these epidemiological markers of hepatitis B in detail both in my mobile video lecture app. Look at the topic viral hepatitis under communicable diseases. In that, look at the subtopic hepatitis B. Similarly, you can go through this topic from the review of PSM book 13th edition also. Study the statements given below for the screening methods. False statement you have to identify. So friends, what we will do is we'll go through these statements one by one and see which statement is true or false. We look at statement number 1. For colorectal cancer, per rectal examination is used. No, this is a false statement. Friends, for colorectal cancer, especially colonic cancer, the pre-cancerous stage is FAP, familial adenomatous polyposis. Per rectal examination is not sufficient to screen that particular disease. So how do we screen for that? For screening, we use stool test, where we focus on either the fecal immunochemical test or we go for guaiac based fecal occult blood test. If facilities are available as in developed countries, you can also go for multi-target stool based DNA test also. Diagnosis could be confirmed by colonoscopy or flexible sigmoidoscopy, where a biopsy should be taken. So this statement is false. Look at statement number 2. For breast cancer, if mammography is done at 40 years age, its prevalence will increase. This is a true statement, friends. In fact, we have discussed that breast cancer has a bimodal distribution. Majority of cases are suddenly showing a rise of incidence after the age of 40 years. So mammography, which is not useful in younger females, becomes one of the test of choice after this particular age. We don't want to miss the lesions. It is able to detect most of the times and definitely prevalence will increase. Look at choice number or the statement number 3. For cervical cancer, pap smear is used. This is true. In recent years, pap smears has been replaced by a more cost-effective VIA method in India. Visual inspection of cervix with 5% acetic acid. But even then, pap smear is also used for screening. Look at statement number 4. For oral cancer by examination from outside, visual inspection is sufficient. No. Oral cancer surgeon has to use both hands to palpate and find out the lesion. So, bimanual oral palpation is required. Only visual inspection is not sufficient. So, this is actually a false statement. Now, read the question. Question says, study the following statements given for screening methods. False statement you have to pick. False. So, answer to this question is choice number C. Statement 1 and statement 4 are false in nature. I have discussed all the screening concept, all the relevant screening and diagnostic tests which are used under national health programs for different diseases which were mentioned in these particular choices in the question also. So, we have discussed not just prostate cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, but common diseases like TB, leprosy, malaria, HIV. Look at the topic screening disease, subtopic basic concepts of screening in the mobile video lecture app. Emergency contraception commonly used in India. Friends, in India, 5 emergency interceptives are recommended. So, these emergency methods which are recommended include combined oral contraceptive pills, USP and Lancy method, where 4 pills plus 4 pills, intervening gap 12 hours, all 8 pills must be given within 72 hours of intercourse. Also recommended is progesterone only pill, where a single pill 0.75 milligram it is. Such one pill, gap of 12 hours, another one such pill. So 1 plus 1, total 2 pills, both to be completed within 72 hours of intercourse. Also recommended is intrauterine device, which theoretically has highest efficacy as an emergency contraceptive. It should be used within 5 days. Then also recommended is RU486, that is mifepristone. As an emergency contraceptive, it should be used within 72 hours. And in Indian program, high dose estrogen, when we say, we are actually referring to 5 milligram for 5 days. So 5 milligram OD for 5 days, and therefore it should be used for continuously 5 days. Out of these, program recommends progesterone only pill as the method which should be used most commonly. So answer to this question is choice number A, levonorgestrel dose, progesterone only pill, lactation pill, mini pill, micro pill, 1.5 milligram total, 0.75 plus 0.75, both pills completed within 72 hours. Also look at choice number B, uripristal. It is not used in India, but if it has to be used, then it should be also used within 72 hours of intercourse. Friends, kindly go through this topic of contraceptives in detail from my mobile video lecture app, Dr. Vivek Jain PSM. A lot of questions come overlapping between PSM and gynae-obs, and many questions directly related to the family planning component of RCS program of India. Each topic you have to read in detail. With this, we come to the end of today's session. I must tell you, you cannot go back and change the beginning, but you can start from wherever you are and change the ending definitely. And it is the process, and more than process, it is the outcome or the end which counts. So friends, with this, I can say thank you so much for being a part of this session. I wish you all the best for a grand success in the upcoming examination. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay cheerful. Best of luck.